There's no way on earth that he's going to fight me. Not a chance. I will retire Jon Jones without even fighting him.
And that he's going to retire and that he's not living like an athlete who's fighting at the top level.
He said he'd retire Tom Aspinall without ever touching him. But what happened next? Jon Jones vanished. And when he came back, everything changed. The so-called greatest of all time claimed this young fighter posed no threat to his legacy. He painted himself as the untouchable champion who could end careers with mere words. Instead of retiring his opponent, Jones ended up retiring himself just 2 weeks ago. The man who built his career on never backing down suddenly walked away when faced with his biggest test. He officially announced his retirement, stripped himself of the heavyweight title, and seemingly disappeared from the sport forever. Or so we thought. Because just 14 days later, everything exploded when Donald Trump made a single announcement about the White House. Suddenly, the retired Jon Jones was back, re-entering the drug testing pool and ready to fight again. But this time, he only wanted to compete under very specific circumstances that would maximize his spotlight while minimizing his risk. And that's when Tom Aspinall's team decided to expose exactly what kind of champion Jon Jones really was. Tom Aspinall was supposed to be just another contender that Jones could easily dismiss. At least, that's what Jones tried to convince everyone when he called Tom a nobody, who hadn't proven anything. He claimed this British heavyweight was just another fighter looking to make a name off his legendary status. But here's the part the UFC doesn't want you to know. Jones was already planning his exit strategy. The numbers don't lie, and they told a completely different story than Jones's trash talk. Tom demolished Jake Collier in 45 seconds flat during his UFC debut, destroyed Alan Baudot in under 2 minutes, submitted the experienced Andrei Arlovski like he was an amateur. Each win was more brutal than the last, and everyone could see where this was heading.
On the grounds of the White House, we have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little...
Do you think that is it?
I don't know him. Don't know him at all. Met him once.
But he has the right to make a decision for himself. Personally, as a fight fan, I just wish that he'd done it a little bit.
But it was that 69-second destruction of Sergey Pavlovich that changed everything. This wasn't just another knockout. This was a statement that shook the entire heavyweight division. Tom had just ended the career of the most dangerous striker in the weight class faster than most people order coffee. And Jones? He was watching from his couch, already knowing he wanted no part of this nightmare. So, Jones did what he does best. He played politics. Instead of facing the young killer who earned his shot, he chose Stipe Miocic, a 42-year-old retired firefighter who hadn't fought in 3 years. Jones called it a legacy fight. But let's be real. It was cherry-picking at its finest. Think about this for a second. On one side, you've got Tom Aspinall, 31 years old, in his prime, finishing everyone in the first round. On the other side, you've got Stipe, pushing retirement age, working part-time as a firefighter, body breaking down from years of wars. This move wasn't strategic. It was desperate. Jones tried to sell this obvious duck by saying former champions deserve respect, and legacy fights matter more than rankings. But here's what he really meant. I'd rather fight a senior citizen than face my biggest nightmare. Every real champion in history proved their greatness by beating the best fighters of their era, not by running from them when the lights got too bright. Then came the most disrespectful move in UFC history. Jones officially retired, not through a big announcement or press conference, but through a random comment during a press conference in the middle of the night. Tom found out he was champion the same way you did, by checking Twitter. Imagine working your entire life for something and finding out you got it through social media.
First of all, thanks for keeping it short, because I have said that I'm not going to speak about it anymore.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is there
anymore, and that he's not interested, and he's not in the gym, and etc.
Big deal too.
And what is now going to happen in your career going forward in the heavyweight division. All right?
But here's what separated the real champion from the pretender. Despite being treated like garbage by the UFC and jerked around for over a year, Tom stayed classy. No trash talk, no bitter tweets, no calling anyone out. Just, I wish him well, and I'm ready to move forward. Pure class from someone who had every right to be furious. Finally, the heavyweight division could breathe again. Contenders who'd been stuck in limbo for a year suddenly had hope. Tom was ready to be an active champion and give fans the fights they deserved. The nightmare was over. The division was free, and everyone could move on, or so they thought. Because Jones wasn't done playing games. 2 weeks. That's how long Jones's retirement lasted before his ego came crawling back. Donald Trump announced plans for a UFC event at the White House. 25,000 fans, historic venue, biggest stage in combat sports. And suddenly, the retired Jon Jones was back on Twitter making moves. Coincidence? Not a chance. Within hours, Jones re-entered the drug testing pool. The guy who walked away for legacy reasons was suddenly ready to fight again, but only under one condition. It had to be at the White House. Not for competition, not for the fans, not to prove he was still the best, just for the cameras and the spotlight. And it exposed the biggest lie of Jon Jones's legacy. This wasn't about being the greatest fighter of all time. This was about being the greatest self-promoter of all time. He didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall to prove his greatness. He wanted to fight him on the biggest stage possible to feed his massive ego. The mask was completely off now.
If he feels satisfied with what he's done, which he's saying he is. But I knew that there was going to be a decision made by the UFC coming soon.
Dana White. We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC.
What are your feelings towards him?
Do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight.
That's when Tom's team decided they'd had enough of the games. They released a statement that cut straight to the bone, calling out Jones for being a complete hypocrite. Retired for 2 weeks, wasted everyone's time for months, and now suddenly available when the spotlight got bigger. The audacity was unbelievable. Tom's manager didn't hold back. He pointed out how disrespectful this was to Tom, the division, and every fan who'd been waiting for this fight. Jones had held an entire weight class hostage for over a year while he played politics. Now he wanted to waltz back in on his terms without facing any consequences. Not happening. But here's the part that really stung. The statement exposed Jones as someone who values promotion over competition. Real champions fight the best available opponent. Period. They don't wait for the perfect venue or the biggest payday. They step up when called upon. And Jones had just proven he was the opposite of everything a champion should be. Want to know the real cost of Jones's games? Tom hadn't been able to work for almost a year. Think about that. The prime years of an athlete's career, wasted because one guy couldn't make up his mind. Other heavyweight contenders were stuck in limbo, unable to plan fights or advance their careers. All because Jones treated the belt like his personal toy. Jones didn't just stole the division, he made it a joke. No fights, no clarity. Just Twitter drama and ego management. Fans were robbed of the fights they wanted to see. Contenders couldn't get meaningful opportunities. The sport's integrity took a massive hit, all for one man's fragile ego. Meanwhile, Tom kept training, stayed professional, and never complained publicly. No drama, no social media campaigns, no forcing anyone's hand. He just stayed ready and trusted his opportunity would come. That's what real champions do. They control what they can control and don't make excuses for what they can't. The difference in character was stunning. When the smoke cleared, one thing became crystal clear.
A tough challenge from a psychological point of view.
Yeah.
This is different.
Feelings towards him, I just wish him all the best. Genuinely wish him all the best.
Events, some professional events, some amateur events, but the UFC fight's going to be a big...
And he's happy to leave like that, then I genuinely wish him all the best.
25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible...
Don't know anything about him, so I don't know.
Say it, told you, Michelle.
Tom Aspinall was the real champion in every way that mattered. Not just because he held the belt, but because of how he carried himself through this entire mess. No games, no manipulation, no ego trips. Just pure professionalism from start to finish. Tom's response to Jones's White House comeback showed exactly why he's the future of this division. While Jones was calculating risk versus reward, Tom was focused on fighting anyone, anywhere, anytime. Real champions don't get to choose their opponents based on promotional value. They fight whoever earns the shot through merit. The British heavyweight proved that legacy isn't built by avoiding challenges or playing politics. It's built by showing up when others run away, staying professional when others create drama, and earning respect through actions rather than words. Tom didn't just become champion. He showed everyone what a champion should look like. So here we are, watching the slow motion collapse of what many considered the greatest legacy in MMA history. Jon Jones didn't just lose his belt. He lost his credibility, his respect, and any claim to being called
Yeah, I
the
feel
GOAT.
like a broken record, keep banging on, but all I wanted to do was fight. I just wanted to fight. I've not been to war.
When faced with his biggest test, he chose retirement over competition. When offered a bigger stage, he chose spectacle over sport. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall emerged as everything a champion should be: professional when disrespected, patient when frustrated, ready when others made excuses. He didn't just inherit a title. He earned the respect of an entire sport through his character and class. The torch wasn't just passed. It was taken by someone worthy of carrying it. When the lights were brightest, one man vanished. The other stepped forward. One ran. One reigned. Jones had his chance to prove greatness. Instead, he proved cowardice. Tom proved that real champions don't need perfect conditions to show their worth. Now ask yourself, which one deserves to be called champion?